Welcome to the amazing world of Elmore,
a senior talent show podcast.
Up till now, my life's been good. Treated me well. I can't complain. Met a woman, raised a kid, and every day just felt the same. But there's something deep inside of me that always wanted to be free. And now I think the time is right to show you what I mean. I wanna sing, I wanna dance, I wanna touch the sky with my own...
Good, because I think that was the right hit. Right amount
Good,
of hit.
I think I need another.
That's fine, I'll do with my mouth stretches.
Man, you ever want to disillusion a kid from acting, just show him that.
I didn't pay all that tuition money for nothing.
Is that our intro?
I think
Let's
so.
say
Hello,
hi.
everyone. Welcome to the amazing world of Elmore.
Yes, it's Gumball Podcast.
A Gumball podcast.
Gumball Podcast, or whatever we call it.
Yeah,
in the
whatever we
intro.
call it in the editing phase. We don't know yet.
Yeah, we don't know.
Secret. We don't actually know.
None of us know. You guys know,
You
but we
guys
don't.
know, but we don't know what it's going to be.
Hey,
you guys will know
alright,
it.
you guys have a secret over us. Enjoy it while you can.
Well, here we are, back at it again,
Yeah,
episode
welcome back, y'all.
3 and 4 of season 1
That's-
of Gumball.
That is the third and the debt.
And the third being the third episode, which is...
Yeah, I have a
don't know if
note
that was
on
intentional,
that.
but...
I put that in the trivia page.
Oh, cool.
So got a little sneak peek of our trivia there.
But, any updates on your end? How's it like going?
Yeah. I went to the hospital.
Yes.
I'm okay. We'll let everyone know that we have at least one concerned listener. I am okay. It was a very minor thing. I really did not need to go to the hospital, but I'll discuss that later because I actually have a note about it.
Is it in your notes for the episode?
It is in my notes for the pre-episode ramble.
Gotcha. Yeah. Awesome. Well, once again, thank you guys for listening so far. We are very, very so happily pleased with the love we've been getting so far, from Twitter and on Reddit and stuff like that. So, again, if you don't follow us on Twitter, we're at Talpod, where we post just kind of random shit and also a bunch of based memes.
A bunch of based takes.
Yeah, a bunch of based takes.
Podcast is for the Gumball fans. Social media is for the left
It's
fans.
for the left and Gumball fans.
Gumball fans
But
included,
it's
if you're somehow a conservative Gumball fan, you're not going to like
I
our
don't think
social
those
media.
possibly could exist.
I don't rightly care whether or not you enjoy our podcast if you're conservative.
I don't think you can be a Gumball fan and be conservative. Gumball is so outwardly queer and
is.
left-leaning. And
It is, but
all
you
that
know what?
shit.
People are dense.
You know what? I guess that's true. I'm underestimating people's stupidity.
Yeah. So, do you want to move into our first section here, history? Have anything else?
Yeah, I think
Well,
we're good.
I always call it history in my notes, but it's rarely actually history. I probably need a better term for it. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to that.
All right.
All right, welcome back, everyone. So yeah, we've got a little bit of knowledge for you here, a little bit of info just before we get into the episodes proper. These two episodes were premiered on May 16th of 2011. So we're still in that first year of Gumball. Unsurprisingly, we're on the third episode. I have all of the characters that debut in these two episodes.
Yes.
I think that's a nice little thing to add in here. This is going to be a long one because this is the first time we've ever really been to the school during school hours.
Yeah.
So I've got, like I said, this is a long list. Tobias, Alan. I should also note there's a lot of background characters. I am not naming named background characters. It's mostly just like main characters, side characters.
Yeah, and I'll get to the voice actors when we get to their actual appearance in the episode.
Tobias, Alan, Banana Joe, Leslie, Tina, Rachel. That's Tobias's sister, because that's a name you probably don't know. Carrie, Juke. That's the jukebox kid. I wasn't 100% sure when I saw that on the wiki, so I wanted to clarify.
Yeah, I guess it is.
Idaho, Ocho, Anton, William, Bobbert, Penny, Terry, Molly, Masami, Carmen, Hector, Hot Dog Guy, Principal Brown, Clayton, Jamie, and Donut Cop. Those are the characters that debut in the third.
Where's Penny at?
Penny is just...
Is she in the school?
Yeah, she's just getting lunch right beside Gumball.
I didn't notice that.
It's weird. They're not interacting, but they're right next to each other.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
And then for the debt, our debut characters are the Robinsons, Mr. and Mrs. and Rocky, Louie, and Donald.
And Donald.
Louie, of course, being the old man mouse that marries into the family later on. And then Donald is the is like the green and brown
is he like the plaid
patch.
guy? Okay, yeah.
That his name is Donald.
Donald. I didn't know that. That's cute.
And that is all of our debut characters for these episodes. And the only other thing I have, do you have anything else that's like pre-rewatch?
No, not really.
All right,
so,
well,
what else you got?
I have our one comment from our post on the subreddit.
Oh, right, yeah.
From, again, the guy 789. Keep it coming. We really appreciate it.
I know. Please keep it coming.
And I do have your pronouns listed. He, they. This is a he, they person.
We love a good he, they.
So here's I've kind of shortened the comments a little bit, and even then it's a long one because the guy gets really detailed. And I really appreciate that. First thing he mentioned was, this is a couple of things not related to these episodes, but he wanted us to talk about, or at least wanted us to read. He did not necessarily think that I or anyone else was wrong for viewing Darwin as black-coded, because all the voice actors, save for the one from the pilot, are black, and later voice actors will go on to incorporate AAVE, that's African American Vernacular English, into their lines.
Which is cute.
It's just very cute. That's
very authentic.
That's really where the black coding essence kind of comes from, is little things like that. But the guy doesn't like to kind of give specific codings of characters, like identify them in a particular way, because race is a human construct.
Right.
And yeah, that's true. So it doesn't apply to non-human characters.
Yeah.
Personally, I think that there's an argument to be made that human written characters can be coded.
Yeah.
But,
I get that.
that's not fact or falsehood.
Yeah,
That's just opinion, obviously. And of course, those that qualify as a certain race in the real world are very diverse. So they're kind of nebulous to begin with. So they hesitate to assign specific races to most characters unless it's like confirmed.
Yeah.
Like we know Masami is ethnically Japanese.
Yeah.
Ocho is ethnically Flemish on his dad's side.
Flemish? That's great.
So we know those two for canon.
What? Flemish. Okay.
And the choices, our episode that we said like we recommended people to watch to start, is very, very confidently not the one he would choose. Apparently, he made that very clear, but he didn't give us which one he would do.
Maybe he's saving it for when we get there.
Yeah, that's fair enough. He was sorry to hear about my hospital trip. Don't worry, I'm fine. This is where the note came in. It was very minor. They saw some weirdness in an EKG and wanted to get it checked out because that's heart-related and that's very serious.
I have actually, my doctor said the same thing to me today. He told me to get an EKG because he noticed some heart palpitations, and I was like...
Yeah, but it turns out like they did an x-ray and there wasn't really anything wrong, and I was pretty healthy otherwise. So I'm good. I just needed to go because they weren't sure what this weird chest pain was. Turns out it was probably costochondritis is the name of it. It's inflammation of the cartilage around the sternum.
Some medical thing.
Nothing major. He knows where analytical discourse of the show is taking place online and can point us in that direction if we want to. I'm very interested in that.
It's definitely not r/Gumball because it's just a shitpost there.
Yeah. I would love to see that. If you want to send that our way, I'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, I want to read the Gumball academic essays.
They're thankful that we said Ghanaian instead of Ghanaian. Apparently a lot of people pronounce it the second way, but they have never met an actual Ghanaian who pronounces it the second way. So apparently, I'm going to be completely honest, I think that was purely incidental. I didn't know how it would be pronounced, but I'm glad we got
that was
it
my
right.
guess. I looked at it. I feel like I can kind of usually see a word and pronounce it fairly well. I don't know.
So, Kwesi, Darwin's voice actor. They gave us a pronunciation. I have it written on here. I still may get it wrong because I listened to it a couple of hours ago at this point. But it's Casey Bwachi.
Bwachi.
Bwachi. And Kwesi was right.
Okay.
I think we got that
Yeah,
right.
I think we said that.
Penny's mom's name is Judith. We
Judith.
weren't sure what it was.
Yeah.
Judith Fitzgerald.
Judith Fitzgerald.
Unless she didn't take Patrick's last name. I don't know if we know that for sure or not.
She was also a P name.
Penny's family living close to the Wattersons is likely just early
Early cartoon
inconsistency, wacky weirdness. Because in season 2, it establishes they live in a different neighborhood.
Yeah.
Because Penny's dad, Patrick, states he does not like this part of town.
Yeah, I remember that.
And it's also pretty clearly established that he's an architect. That's his job.
That's a good
It's a good paying job, so they probably have a lot more money than the Wattersons.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Because Judith doesn't work. I think she's like a stay-at-home mom.
She does seem to be.
Which is very different than the Watterson household.
Though they may address that in the episode where she's kind of important, but I don't remember.
Remember
Gumball's
when she made
4.
cookies of Gumball's like innards falling out?
Yeah, that sounds like a season 6 comment more than a
Well, we
season 1
made
comment.
one earlier, but I was just thinking about it because it was funny.
It is funny. It is funny. But Gumball's 4 in the Origins, not 2. I was wrong on that. My memory was
So then
incorrect.
Darwin is like how old is Darwin when he's like turned into like Darwin?
I guess, isn't he 2 years younger? I guess he would have been 2.
I guess so.
Guess that makes sense. You couldn't have really had Darwin at 0 years old.
Yeah. Yeah, how did they calculate his age when he was like considered a part of the family? They were like, how old
I
is
kind
he?
of just assumed Darwin probably already knew he was intelligent
Yeah, I
before
guess
they
that's
met
true.
him.
Yeah.
So we said the brothers are comfortable saying they love each other, and, or he said that the boys are very comfortable saying they love each other and hugging, which is very sweet. We said they're comfortable crying.
Yeah.
That is very cute. I think that's an extremely positive expression of like little like young boys. I think
And
it's very
masculinity.
great. And masculinity.
Yeah.
It's not
And it's such an important part of the show too.
the kind of stuff we grew up with did not do that.
Yeah, fuck no.
But
You would see Ed, Ed and Eddie like telling each other how much they love each other.
yeah, and crying? No, they wouldn't have. Kyla Ray Kowalski, was that the name? That's Anais's.
Oh yeah, that her voice actress.
Her voice actress was born
That's
in 2001, same as the guy actually. So they're the same
okay.
age.
Cute.
And after Logan Grove and Kwesi Boachi left, she was then the oldest Watterson child voice actor.
That's great.
Isn't that interesting?
so funny.
The youngest was the oldest voice actor.
That's great.
And Richard Overall, I'm assuming it's Overall because it's spelled like the outfit piece, but I might be wrong, was voice director, editor, songwriter in the show. He's active on Twitter and could help answer who Marvin's voice actor was. So we should probably reach
If he
out.
even knows, he's gonna be
But
like, what?
apparently he's good at helping solve these mysteries.
Well, come
so
on the show. What was his name?
Richard Overall.
Yeah, Richard Overall.
We'd love it. I'd be more than glad to talk to anyone who was involved
I
in the
would
show.
love to know how the voice director like got these voice performances out of these actors. I mean,
I would
obviously
love
these
to
actors
know.
themselves are very talented, but I would love to see where.
I definitely
how that
love to know
works.
what they were going for with some characters. Like, what were they being told to do when they were in like their audition? Mm-hmm. Very curious to know that.
Yeah, I want to know about that. The audition process. Who was
Yeah.
in charge? Was Ben in charge of that? Was that Richard Overall? Was that someone else?
The show was very inconsistent in early seasons about whether or not Anais had her own room. The guy thinks we may see snippets of this like supposed Anais bedroom at some point in this season, but they were not sure.
Why did they not? I mean, like, why didn't they? The creator, like the animators, like, why didn't they give her her own? What is it? A commentary on like their status?
I always read it as a commentary of their status that they had a 2-bedroom house because we know when Richard and Nicole got that house, right? And they're also poor. They probably can't move.
And I guess they were probably only having. Well, they knew they were having one kid, so I guess they were like 1 bedroom's fine. And then Darwin came along, and then Anais came along.
Yeah. And season 2's The World is where it's finally established that she does in fact take that top bunk. So she was going to piss on her own bed and then be like, Darwin, what if I piss on your bed, Gumball?
Anais L.
Yeah, the Anais got it wrong, or I guess really the writers did.
Yeah.
But he also said there's a fair argument that the show's designs play with traditionally gendered characteristics a lot, and that is a sort of element of the queerness of the show.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's just so much color That's the great. There's so much color to the world. It's not drab and dreary. Everything is a different color.
It's so much. There's a lot of color both in the actual visuals and also of how diverse everyone is.
Yeah, like it is like when you think of a cartoon, that's what I think of. Something so colorful and imaginative.
And they note that Darwin's multilingualism might have something to do with him being a former animal companion, quote unquote, because really Darwin's his own person, but he would have needed to communicate with potential families all around the world.
I guess that's true.
So maybe that's where the kind of multilingualism.
How many languages does Darwin know?
That's a good question.
Does he know every language?
I would love that. I think that's a very cute character trait.
Every language.
I was wondering though if this was shown or hinted at some point in the show, or if that was just kind of headcanon. I was curious. It's very cool headcanon if it is, but I was curious where that might be shown in the show. And then their actual notes for these 2 episodes in specific. The third is another not bad episode, pretty generic and forgettable. Very standard kids cartoon plot. Tobias' shtick as the unpopular wannabe Casanova is not clearly defined yet, and I have a little bit of headcanon for this. I personally feel like a lot of how things are kind of framed in the show or like depicted is very representative of basically how Gumball and other characters like immediately interconnected with him view themselves and others and like the world. And I kind of feel like perhaps Tobias is not that kind of loser thing yet because Gumball didn't know that he was.
Yeah, that's
And
fair.
I feel like maybe that's just kind of explaining away early season weirdness, but I think that makes sense.
No, I mean, I get that.
I don't know if they actually have a long-lasting history of being around each other, but even then, I certainly didn't know everyone in our grades when we were their age.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
Yeah,
they just never really talked before this episode.
I never got that impression from this episode that they were like really ever buddies or anything.
Yeah.
They knew of each other.
So yeah, I think that's kind of my headcanon. I think a lot of the way things are represented in the show, in their design and their kind of personalization and characterization, it all kind of feels like this could be a real world. Gumball's a real kid in the real world, and this is just like his imagination version of the world.
Yeah.
Is really how the show feels, and I think that's kind of how Tobias is. Basically, it kind of reads like a fan fiction of Gumball's like real world counterpart.
I've also thought of it as, like if this show starts with these 2 are clearly kids, and as we've talked about so many times that this feels like they age, and maybe that's how the other characters are too. Like this is kid Tobias. Like he doesn't become like the maybe he just doesn't have a sexuality yet until later seasons, and
that's
I don't
totally
know.
Fair.
There's a lot of ways you could look at it.
And he also likes in this episode when Gumball and Darwin look for new friends because we get to see the other classmates and we get to really enjoy the multimedia design of the show, which is totally true.
Of this episode.
Oh yeah, I love getting to see all the new characters because these have been introduced in this episode, so you never get to see them before.
Yeah.
And it really is just like candy for your eyes. It's like that Haribo Funtastic mix, where it's just a bunch of different shapes of candy. And that's kind of what this show feels like. It's not all gummy bears.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And then for the debt, they have a very complicated opinion of Mr. Robinson and his role in the show, which I think is kind of very different to your experience and my experience as well. I love Mr. Robinson.
I can't wait to talk about the debt. Even if it's like low tier Robinson episode, I can't wait to talk about it.
That's fair enough. And the guy says that this episode does not do him any favors in that regard.
It's like we talked about when we finished rewatching it. It was like he wasn't Mr. Robinson quite yet.
He wasn't, yeah.
He's like there, but like he still didn't.
I mean, it's like this is something I'll get into later on, when we start the episodes. But I think these characters kind of get unflanderized.
Yeah, honestly,
I think they're very flanderized in season 1, and then they like kind of lose that. Yeah, maybe that's not really flanderization. Maybe that's just them getting a better personality, character growth. But that's what it feels like to me.
But I think that's
everyone
a good thing to
started with archetypes.
Yeah.
And his last couple of notes here is that Gumball fawning over Mr. Robinson and in doing so accidentally messing things up is very repetitive for them. But they do note that I Want to Be Free, Mr. Robinson's song from the debt, is a pretty enjoyable song.
Mm-hmm. It's lovely.
Yep.
I love that part.
And that's it. Again, thank you for giving us comments. If anyone who's listening to this wants to send in a comment, just check the Gumball subreddit.
Yeah.
We usually post it.
We are on r/Gumball.
Yeah, we'll post it during the week, and you can just kind of give us your comments. If you do that, please give us your pronouns. Don't want to misgender anyone.
Yeah. Also, feel free to email us. We are.
Yep.
You can email us. We're just talpod@gmail.com. So
Just like everything
just
else.
like everything
if
else.
you think we might be on a platform, Talpod.
Look up
whatever.
Talpod. That's what we made it for.
TAWELPOD.
But yeah.
I think that's it. I think it's time for the rewatch then, yeah?
All right. Okay, so you want to get into the third?
Yeah, we're in the third episode of the series.
Episode. This episode, if I may, was written by Ben Bocquelet, John Foster, James Lamont, and Sam Ward. And it was storyboarded by George Gendy.
There's actually a note about that in the next episode, surprisingly.
Yeah.
But my first note here is pretty much immediately after the credits. What is this poster above Owen?
I was thinking that earlier, too.
It's some sort of like 3D media, like assumably a movie or something. But I also noticed the effect, like the way it's drawn, has ghosting effects very similar to Carrie, just with different colors.
Yeah, it kind of does.
Which is interesting.
Yes, it's like a random poster.
Yeah.
But this is the first time we see Darwin's fishbowl.
Very cute.
It's so fucking cute. I love it. It's so adorable. I love that he sleeps in the fishbowl.
It's very precious.
And he's in there with his shoes on, too.
Yeah.
Is that dirty?
That's kind of weird.
He doesn't take his shoes off, like, ever, as a woman.
I guess he probably does in the later season.
Maybe
he's get those slippers.
I love the slippers.
Very precious.
I can't wait till that. But yeah, so basically it's just like another day, and they have some time to kill before, or just like a couple days or something.
They say there's 24 hours before they go back to school, so this episode starts on a Sunday.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Assumably.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting because it's never ever like really specified in any episode what day of the week it's on.
Yeah.
Or I guess one is specifically a Sunday.
I mean, yeah, or maybe you could. Well, yeah, I guess it would, because I was thinking maybe it's like a break or something.
Unless they had like a day off. Yeah. That's also possible.
But let's just assume
it's not specified.
For all intensive purposes.
But they're trying to find out what they should do, and I think it's very cute. Darwin suggests shooting hoops.
Yeah.
And water fighting.
Darwin wants to play basketball.
It's so cute. I love that he just wants to play with water.
Yeah, he wants to play with water. And
but Gumball does not like water fighting because it's wet.
Yeah,
which of course he's a cat.
Yeah.
Very cute. So they decide to play Dodge or Dare.
Yeah, the first time we see Dodge or Dare.
It's not Dodge or Dare that they play later on in the episode. I think the game. Because it's spelled properly.
Yeah.
And that made me think, assumably, this is not that version. This show has a history of what I consider, like, what I call cursed items. And it's basically just an item with, like, a crazy amount of, like, reality warping power and shit. And I think Dodge and Dare is one of them. This does not appear to be that Dodge or Dare.
No, this is
So I was thinking, could this be an early version of
their
the
Dodge
game?
or Dare game?
Because they're like, oh, no, we're bored of this, too. Mm-hmm. What if they got rid of this version of Dodge or Dare and created the cursed item version later on?
That's cute.
Like
that.
Kind of happens off camera in between this episode and that one. Mm-hmm. Seems reasonable to me. They are super bored of this version of the game, and it's spelled right, so they probably went and made it again.
Yeah, and I love that it's just like a piece of cardboard. It feels very kiddish. It's very childish, and I love it.
It's very cute.
But yeah, they are obviously kind of growing, not necessarily bored, maybe is quite the right word, but Gumball feels as though they are, their relationship's kind of stale, I guess.
Yeah, and I love Darwin is just devastated by that idea.
He's immediately
again, he starts to cry again. He's immediately ready to cry over that idea. But Gumball gets the idea of maybe adding a third to the group dynamic.
Yeah, they're gonna become a poly.
Yeah. After watching three ants take away a cookie.
The cookie.
And it's very cute because they have this long conversation about maybe we should add a third, and Darwin's got a bunch of hesitations, but Gumball convinces him, and they are kind of like, all right, yeah, let's go with this. And then right as the scene's about to end, Darwin just realizes what happened, and he goes, my cookie. And it's so precious.
He's so devastated.
Yeah.
He lost his cookie. It's my note. It's just a frowny face next to it. My cookie.
Yeah, I had that too. I had a little frowny face next to it. He's just so sad.
I wanted to mention that I thought it was a cute little detail that Gumball doesn't have any shoes on in the grass.
He never has any shoes on.
Ever?
I don't think so.
He definitely has shoes on. There's no way he walks around without shoes on all the time.
Keep an eye out for it.
I'm convinced there's no way he
keep an eye out for it. You might get a.
That would be kind of cute though if only Darwin wears shoes.
Yeah, I think pretty sure that's true.
I don't know. I just noticed it specifically because I thought, well, they're outside. Like, it's cute. He's just in his bare feet. Because I get that. But I thought he had shoes. But maybe I'm wrong.
Keep an eye out.
But overall, this is kind of the theme of the episode with them, sort of wondering about their relationship, and it's just feels like such an early version of what we get in season 6, which we won't go into now.
Yeah, but we do kind of get a more dynamic version of this.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't have as much of the impact as it does later. It's still cute, but I think I agree with what Guy was saying.
Very cartoony.
Yeah, it's a very cartoonish thing, which is fine. I mean, Gumball does these things early on, and it does them pretty well. But it's not what's to come.
Yeah, but so they kind of decide on this plan, and then they go to school for the first time.
Yay, first time we
so
get to
yeah, that's
see
why we get all of these like depictions of characters. This is all why they all debut here. Mm-hmm. So they see all their classmates, and they're trying to figure out, well, which amongst these like people would make for a good tertiary. And I think it's very cute that Darwin is just perfectly happy with making that Tina.
Yeah, can you imagine?
Like, how about Tina? And that's so cute. I love that he's like just like non-judgmental about her.
Yeah, he wants Tina to be the third in their group. How would that work? I'd love to see that.
That's a weird dynamic.
Can you imagine them hanging out in their backyard?
That'd be so funny. Imagine those two are playing Dodger Dare, and then you just have Tina sitting there on her fucking haunches, and she's like, "Oh, I like it. Watch the dice."
And she steps on him.
Yeah. Oh, that probably.
But yeah, this is Tina's first appearance, and she's very kind of immediately made like she's like the bully. Yeah. Because she walks on 3 of the students.
Yeah, she crushes 3 of them.
Crushes.
And then she like brushes Anton into the fucking ground.
Oh my god, she's brutal. Yeah.
So then they think that maybe William would be a good choice, or at least Darwin does. And both of the boys think he's really creepy.
That's interesting. Funny. Yeah, I like, what is it? I mean, he's like an eyeball with wings, but I'm like curious what that translates to.
I guess that's why William doesn't show up in many episodes, because they just think he's weird.
Yeah.
And so they don't talk with him.
I can't wait till we get to his episode.
I do love him whenever he does become relevant. He's very sweet.
He's great. He just wants to communicate.
He just does. Yeah. So then they move over to Banana Joe.
Hey,
all right, Banana Joe. We stand Banana Joe. But Banana Joe's googly eyes, I noticed, are way more googly now than they are later on.
I think later on he actually gets like drawn eyes. I think.
I don't think they're drawn. They're just like they just kind of like track like normal eyes.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, they're so like googly, almost like kind of distracting, but like not really. But like I can see why they changed.
Yeah, I already brought it up, but this is where my note was that Joe gets unflanderized, because this is not like later show Joe.
We love later show Banana Joe. Yeah. And of course voiced by McGraves in his first voice appearance as Banana Joe.
He does a great job.
Instantly. Yeah, he's great. He knows Banana Joe, who he's going to be like right away.
I did think, though, that Banana Joe, it's very cute that he's just so easily entertained by himself. He's just like, he's self-sufficient. He could just entertain himself all day. That's very cute.
He's just so happy to be friends.
Oh, and this is also the first real fart joke the show gets.
Yeah, it's one of the
and I was like, we need to keep track of them, because they don't have them very often. But yeah, this is the first time the show like actually has a real fart on camera. And,
you know what has a lot of fart jokes? Pororo.
Yeah, Pororo. We haven't talked about that yet. Shout out to the one person who's listened to this podcast and knows what Pororo is.
I don't think anyone's going to know what Pororo is.
We have 7 viewers from Asia.
That's true.
7 listeners.
Somebody might know it, yeah.
Maybe.
But, yeah, continue on.
Yeah, so that's kind of all I had for Banana Joe. So, next thing they go to is they go to try Bobbert.
Yeah,
Bobbert. Another character I fucking love. And Bobbert doesn't understand. He does his like one joke that he doesn't really understand non-literal language. It is such a good joke.
It's so good.
And so he punches Gumball in the arm so hard that he goes flying through the concrete.
Yeah.
I also think it's very funny. Quick like punchy joke that Gumball punches Bobbert's arm and it hurts him, and it's so funny. Yeah. But it's really quick. Then Bobbert does the same, smashes him through the wall, and I just want to say, like, Bobbert's just a robot.
He's straight up a robot.
He's just a robot. They didn't have to make him like this strong. Robots aren't always this strong. But I love that from the beginning he was.
Yeah, I mean, he's like a mass weapon of destruction later.
Yeah, I love that he's just so powerful. He can send Gumball through the fucking wall. Yeah. I love that because there's only a few of their classmates that do that shit on the regular. Mm-hmm. And he's one of them.
Yeah, and we don't get his appearance is still kind of like, it's not what it is next season.
Yeah, I really do not like his like visuals in this season. I gotta be honest.
I
straight up do not like them.
Yeah, that's fair. I like him in the next season. I think his design gets much better. I don't know what it is. It just looks better. But he is
his proportions are better.
Yeah, and he is voiced by Carrie Shale for the first season. And Carrie Shale also voices a couple other characters that we get to. Who he was only the voice actor for these characters in season 1, and he left for whatever purposes. And so they got new voice actors. So that's why a lot of these voice actors aren't the same ones later. But for this, he is Carrie Shale.
I gotta be honest, I like his season 2 and beyond voice a little bit more.
I think the voices the characters get later are better. Oh, there's Penny.
I do have something here about this lunch scene. They go to lunch next. If you go back a little bit, you might find this interesting to look at. I noted who sits next to each other. Because I think that's interesting, because assumably if they sit next to each other, they're probably talking or something, doing something. Tina and Jamie are sitting next to each other.
That makes sense.
But Anton's also sitting with them.
Look at him.
So what
is he not mad at her for stepping on him?
That's a good point.
I guess Anton's pretty chill, though.
Yeah, Anton's
and Clayton
chill.
And Bobbert.
Clayton, Bobbert, and Hot Dog Guy.
What do they talk about?
Yeah, I think Bobbert's... Why does Bobbert even sit down?
I just love Bobbert. That's so many of his characters. Like, why is he doing this?
I love him so much because he just does not belong, and it's in such a precious way.
Alan looks pissed. Did you see that? Look at him.
Yeah.
What's he mad
also,
about?
I noticed Alan and Carmen are not sitting next to each other.
I guess
Do you think that they maybe get together after this episode off camera?
Maybe. I don't know when the first time we see them officially together is.
Yeah, because I think we do see them the first time we see them together. They're like kissing and stuff, so they're already established. I like the idea that they are not yet a partnership right now, and so that happens at some point in the off camera in a different episode. Mm-hmm. I think that's very cute. But then there's a jump cut from this establishing shot to Gumball and Darwin, and then Hot Dog Guy is no longer sitting with those people. He's just sitting with a couple of extras.
Yeah, the random extras, the green bear thing, and
like a squiggle
and
a
squiggle
mushroom.
and the dog with that, the pixel dog.
Well, they're not sitting with a Hot Dog Guy, but they're sitting in the back.
Yeah.
But
then we see Leslie.
Yeah, these two are kind of talking in the lunch line, and Penny's right next to Gumball. Yeah, Gumball's not talking to her. It's kind of weird. Mm-hmm. But Leslie walks over and is super interested in being their friend, which is really weird. And I thought why are they so interested in that?
Yeah.
I thought, why is Leslie so interested in that? I thought maybe he just moved to town or something, and we just don't know that. But maybe he just moved in. He doesn't have a friend group yet.
Yeah, because they think Leslie later on. I don't think he would really.
He definitely has a friend group later on, and these two are not a part of it.
These two are not a part of it. But Leslie is also voiced by Carrie Shale, and he'll get his voice. I don't think really changes too much.
No, I wouldn't have even been able to tell you it was a different voice.
It's pretty good, yeah.
But yeah, also, these three walk to the lunch table, and Leslie's like, "Oh, what are you having, beef stew?" And these two are like, "No, we're eating pizza."
Yeah.
Neither of their two trays look like they have pizza nor beef stew on it. None of them look
it's just like
food.
Little lumps of color.
Yeah,
like typical cartoon lunch.
Mm-hmm.
But then we cut to the bathroom. We are in a bathroom with Gumball and Darwin just kind of hanging out in a stall talking about this.
They're like, no one we've met today is working yet. And so they're like, well, what do we need in a friend?
Yeah, and Darwin says that he lists a few things that his friends should be, which is athletic to keep bullies away from him, rich, which I find interesting, a colorful personality, and can listen.
Rich to play with their toys. Yeah. It's purely a class thing. They just want more access to more toys.
That's interesting. I feel like that's a very a really kind of real thing. They're both we gotta get a rich friend.
We need a rich
That was us
friend.
and Jesse.
Yeah.
He was our Tobias.
He was, but he never bought a shit.
He never bought a shit.
But, yeah, I kind of noted that, too. He has a colorful personality, and is really good at listening.
And of course, Darwin wants someone who's good at listening.
Of course he
yeah,
does.
I don't think Gumball ever considered that.
But, naturally, Tobias hears that in the next stall and kind of peeks over.
Yeah, he's just in there.
Yeah, he
whatever
peeks
reason.
over the wall, and the divider wasn't really nice. It's like completely separated from the ground up. I guess they probably need something like that with how weird these kids that attend are.
Yeah, can all these kids fit in these stalls?
But I thought, what exactly is Tobias?
Yeah, he's
He's
just,
just like a thing.
A color.
According to the wiki describes him as a, quote, multicolored, fluffy, cloud-like humanoid creature.
I mean, I guess
Which,
so.
I got something interesting here. Based on his family and the designs we see for them later on, I think whatever species he is might have, like, a little bit of sexual dimorphism in them. Because if you look at his sister and his mother, they have, like, a separate hair color versus body color. But Tobias and his dad don't.
Interesting.
The females, they have like the ombre transitional color that Tobias has, just in their hair, and they have a solid color skin tone. But Tobias and his dad, their full body is that like ombre.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if, maybe that's like a sexual dimorphism thing for whatever his species is.
Yeah, I don't know if that's intentional, but it's
the girls have
nice
like
detail.
a separated hair, and the guys
That's
have.
cute.
That would suck if you were trans.
Oh, hope Tobias isn't trans.
Yeah, he'd probably have to shave a lot.
But yeah, we get to see Tobias, and he is voiced by Rupert Degas for season 1, which definitely made sense because when we heard him, when we watched this episode, I was like, that is not Tobias.
No, it is not him.
I mean, the voice and performance is good. Like, there's not anything with that, but
nothing
it's just
wrong
not
with it.
the
It's just
Tobias
it's not
we know.
Tobias we get to know.
Yeah.
And again, so much of this show is at its best like later on, and so it's just it doesn't quite feel right if it's not matching what it's like in the later seasons. So yeah, we already kind of talked about this, but like, did they not know Tobias before this scene? Seems like they really didn't.
I mean, I guess not well. I mean, they knew of Tobias,
Yeah,
I guess,
I mean,
but I
it
don't
seemed
think
like
they knew him
he
very
was
well.
just a classmate they've never interacted with
Yeah.
before, right? I thought that was interesting.
What is his motivation for this? To make money?
Money?
Is that it? He's already rich.
I mean, he is lonely. That's a pretty common
Yeah,
character
yeah.
trait for him. Mm-hmm. But
That makes sense.
I also thought when they go to leave, Tobias immediately latches onto Darwin and kind of leaves Gumball behind. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're going for with that in character. I mean, like, obviously they're writing it so that Gumball becomes jealous, but like in universe, what does that kind of say about Tobias and Darwin and Gumball? It kind of felt like a kind of a dark little thing to me in universe.
Really?
like Tobias has found his mark. He knows which one's going to give him more money.
I mean, yeah, I guess that is true.
This is
But
kind of fucking gross.
But that's funny because the gag throughout this whole episode is that Darwin keeps getting money from Gumball.
Yeah, Gumball, he keeps asking Gumball if he can borrow money.
Yeah.
And Gumball keeps doing it.
He does, no matter how upset he gets, too. It's cute.
But I love that Gumball, like, they come home and they're talking about Tobias at the table, or rather Darwin is.
Yeah.
I love that Gumball's just instantly jealous that his brother's spending time with another person.
Yeah.
Like, Darwin does that when Penny gets involved, but it's nice it goes both ways.
Yeah, it's
Gumball
very
gets
cute.
jealous too.
Yeah. And I love how invested the family is in this
They're,
story.
they're so invested in Tobias, it's so weird.
Yeah, it's definitely
That is definitely
weird.
not how this family would react later on.
Well, I just thought it was them
Speaking of
invested in
how
him.
invested they are, I was thinking, how do you think Richard would feel if he knew Tobias was his bully's son?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't know if does he ever learn that?
No, but he certainly doesn't know that right here.
Yeah.
There's no way these two told him, like, oh, and his dad's name is Harold.
No, they probably didn't even think about that for Richard.
No, they don't
yet.
even know his name. His dad's name. I think it's very funny. Gumball throws a little bit of food into Darwin's
that's
face.
great, yeah.
And I also think it's very cute that they allow Nicole to just get like a little angry at him and kind of like reprimand him for it.
Yeah, and even Richard is one of my favorite jokes in this one, where he's like, "Oh, that's great. Now tell me more about Tobias."
I'll tell you more about Tobias.
That's a
It's
great
so
gag.
cute. That's where I noted. I wonder if he would have been feeling that way.
Yeah.
If he knew this was his bullies. So we then cut to the next episode, or like next
next
day.
scene, yeah, the next day.
Next day at school again. They're in gym, and first off, Miss Simeon
is
is
teaching gym class.
That's
I
not
had that
right.
was my note too. Yeah,
That's not right.
We don't
I
see
didn't
Coach
note that,
yet.
but I just now felt that. I just now thought about that.
Oh yeah, no.
But
Coach yet.
and they're playing something called Trust Ball. What the hell is Trust Ball?
I don't know, but I wish we actually got to see what they were playing.
Yeah, I looked it up. This is not something I could find on the internet, so assumably this is
It's
either
probably
like
something they made up.
something they either made up or it's a very local thing, something
Yeah.
like that.
Probably something they made up just so they could do this
I'd
like,
imagine it's-
two-person division thing.
Yeah, because otherwise it'd have been really weird for Miss Simeon to be like, line up with your best friend!
Wait, is it Trust Ball or Trust Fall?
It was Trust Ball.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it may have been Fall, but I'm pretty sure.
Oh, God, who's going to pick up Bobbert?
Who
or
picks
Tina!
Bobbert? Or Tina.
or Throw, or whatever it is.
Poor Tina. Tina gets so excluded.
Who's Tina picking this? Who are these
I feel like she
pairings?
probably wants to hang out with Penny.
Yeah, why doesn't Gumball go
Penny and
with
Masami.
Penny? If Darwin's with Tobias, he should go with Penny.
I guess they didn't really focus on that.
I guess they just didn't give a fuck yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
But, yeah. So Gumball gets jealous because Darwin's playing with Tobias and not him. Mm-hmm. Even though Miss Simeon specifically said, line up with your best friend. So he's very frustrated. But, so he comes over and he's kind of talking about them. And they're apparently going to have a sleepover. Mm-hmm. And he's going to play, I have it noted here, they specifically call it a computer games console.
Yeah.
The language is so not how a kid talks. It's very weird because they keep saying computer game console over and over again.
He has a Z
but
station.
It's called the V station.
V? Is it V?
Station.
Oh, okay.
I heard of V.
Oh, okay.
V Station, it is not released yet, assumably. It's just not released in their region.
Yeah.
It's probably released in Japan already or something. But, so Gumball gets jealous and he's like, oh, well, I'm having a sleepover too with Alan. And he pulls Alan in, and so now Alan's a supporting character.
And the first time we see Alan.
But first off, they don't know each other yet.
No, they've not barely.
Alan and Gumball have not met yet, really. Uh-huh. They've just been kind of acquaintances. And first off, I mentioned Alan in later seasons would absolutely intervene in this conflict like right away.
Yeah, he would.
He would have been like, how can we resolve this? I see you're upset.
Yeah.
But he doesn't do that yet because he just doesn't have his personality yet.
Yeah, he just isn't.
So this
quite
is proto
Alan.
Mm-hmm. But so they go back home, and I thought, imagine what it would be like if Alan were to actually play the cursed item version of Dodger Dare.
What would his reality turn out to be?
That's so fun. Like, I'd imagine, like, how would he react to that? I don't think he'd handle it well.
And we get the sort of one of the other running gags of this episode where he just doesn't remember, or Gumball doesn't remember Alan's name.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Also, Darwin just does not understand that Gumball's acting jealous right now. And I think it's very cute. He's just like, oh, okay, we can do this.
He just wants to be friends with everyone, you know?
But Gumball and Alan go back to Gumball's house, and they try and play Dodge and Dare. And I think there's this pretty funny running gag for this scene that Alan just does not have hands.
He doesn't have hands.
Though, I kind of feel like rolling dice and picking up cards is something he could do with his string later on.
Or, with his string or with his little suck hole.
Yeah, I feel like he would definitely be capable of playing
I think
this
he
game
does do that
on.
later. I think he does, like, grab things with his string later on, yeah. How does he exist? How do you exist in this world with no hands?
I guess
legs,
that's how.
and just one little, like, suck hole.
I think that's really fun. They kind of tackle that later on, and that's a version of this show that I really appreciate. That's a thing that they do that I really like. Mm-hmm. Is that they do kind of tackle those questions. They're like, well, okay, if he's a balloon, how does he eat? Yeah, and like they answer those questions at least a little bit, and I really like that.
It's great. It's really great.
But I also noted that while this is happening and this is not working on Darwin, Gumball has another tear in his eye.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's probably going to be the last time I mention that these boys cry because they do it so often.
Yeah, they pretty much do it every
they do
episode.
it a lot, and it's very sweet.
But I liked that Alan does intervene eventually, and he's like, listen, Gumball, why are we doing this? Like,
this is something I did. I noted it a little bit too late in my notes, apparently. But I do love that even though he's angry at Darwin for all this, he does loan him the money he needs.
He does.
It's so sweet. I love their relationship. They love each other so much. He's like, yeah, I'm angry at you, but I'm
honestly,
angry at
it almost feels like performative with how Gumball is acting jealous. Like it almost feels like he's trying to put on a show.
Yeah,
for
I think
Darwin.
he kind of just needs like Darwin to come talk to him and be like, "Listen, I still love you. You're still my brother. This is not getting in between us." I think they just need to have a conversation.
But he tells Gumball to. Go ahead.
Sorry, this is one short thing.
No, you're fine.
These sleepovers are really spur of the moment. I could have never had a sleepover that I just decided in school that day.
Did Alan's parents and Nicole and
did they have to talk? Did they call?
I want to see Alan at the dinner table with them.
Yeah, did they give him a plate of air? And he's like, I eat real food, right?
It'd be great.
They don't understand balloon culture.
They don't understand balloon culture. Oh, that's so good. But yeah, he encourages Gumball to go after Darwin, and so we get like this like long extended sequence of Gumball trying to get there.
Yeah. I have another couple of things that are actually before this. First off, whatever street Tobias is on, his address is 910.
Huh.
That's you can see that right above the mailbox. They're 910.
Oh, okay.
Thought that was interesting. Whatever
That's cute.
street they're on, they're 910.
Wonder
that
what
street.
significance that number is, or is it just random?
I think it's probably just because it's a photo of a real house.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah.
And also, the Wattersons have a football.
Yeah.
They don't play football together.
Well, Darwin wanted to play basketball
Yeah,
earlier.
I guess Darwin's pretty active. and
Darwin's probably more
Gumball-
sportsy.
Gumball's active too. Yeah, he's sporty.
He would play football if Darwin asked, I think.
I think so. Yeah, that's probably where they got it. I think Darwin probably asked for the football. That's adorable.
That's cute.
And also, Alan was the first Rob.
Alan was the first Rob. Yeah, he really was. He was the first one to get the inconsistent name.
Yep.
Which is funny, because does Gumball do that to Alan later?
No,
think so,
because
right?
I think now it's like established they know each other.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. But, yeah, we start the sequence where he runs into this, like, rabbit girl we don't particularly see very often,
Yeah, we see her a couple of times. Her name is Rosie.
Rosie.
I have that noted. Her name is
Who
Rosie.
are her parents?
I
That's
don't
what
think
I
we
wanna
see
know.
them. But, so yeah, he's like, I need your bike immediately. I'm going to lose my best friend. And she tells him to give him some money for it.
Damn, what a bitch. She's a capitalist.
Yeah, $50, I think. And then Gumball's like, 30. And then she says 70, and he takes it.
She's a capitalist.
And why does Gumball have so much money? He spent $100 in this episode.
I didn't actually. I mean, I didn't think that he threw like $70. I thought it was just more of like he threw whatever change he had left at her. But I don't know. Maybe.
I guess that makes sense, but I think he's kind of like a deal or something. I think he calls that out.
Oh, I don't know.
But,
I guess it's his.
If he
Christmas
does
money.
spend that much, it was $100.
Damn.
And yeah, where does he get all this?
Christmas, birthday.
guess
That's what I
so.
would imagine. That's where I got my money as a kid.
Yeah. But he does get the bike, and he's zooming past on it. And I wanted to say, like, when the first scene of him actually riding it, before he does his big jump that happens in a little bit, he's really poorly rendered.
Really?
Looks like he's just, like, poorly superimposed onto the background. Just doesn't quite look right.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah,
It's
it
a
looks
little
off.
strange, like, his like, outline isn't quite right. But then it fixes itself pretty quickly. It's very funny. Gumball's like, get out of the way! And it's a
so
sentient brick wall.
I love that.
And he's like, I
I
can't, I'm a
I'm
brick wall. And they're bickering, which causes a manhole cover to like pop up and say, what are you guys talking about?
Yeah.
And
So great.
Gumball, right over it, does a trick and completely flubs it and just kind of crashes onto the
He
ground.
can't bike, but he can
Nope.
skate.
No, but he falls into a bunch of garbage and then kind of sits there for a bit, comes out with a rage.
He's victorious.
And then he kind of bikes really quickly with his ass in the air, which is very funny drawing.
Yeah, it's a great little funny thing.
I also thought it was really nice that he's actually wearing the helmet.
He's wearing the helmet.
He is wearing a
Cartoon
helmet.
Network was like, you have to make sure he's wearing a helmet.
But then he runs into concrete and like gets completely covered in it and is instantly frozen in place. And then he thinks about these two playing the games together. And I thought, in his little imagination bubble, they keep pausing and unpausing the game.
I noticed
over and
that
over again.
too. Yeah, what was
Why?
that about? Yeah.
That's so weird.
Is it like it with these like early games? Wasn't it when it was paused, the logo it would like flash on screen like that with like Mortal Kombat and stuff like that? Didn't it flash like pause when you paused it?
But like, why are they pausing?
Oh, I see what you mean.
Why are they rapidly hitting the pause button? That doesn't seem to make any sense. Assumably just so they didn't have to animate it.
I guess it's probably the easiest answer.
Yeah.
But yeah, then we see that Gumball has to go over this giant hill, which leads me to the question of where the hell does
Yeah,
Tobias
where does
live?
Tobias live? I had that note too.
He goes to the same school as them?
Yeah, but I guess he's in like the Richner area. Mm-hmm. But it is funny that while he's biking up this, he's very frustrated. He's just ranting and
He's
raving.
so pissed.
And he says, all this because of those stupid ants and their stupid cookie. And then he says, look at me, I'm a third ant. Stupid.
He's so mad. It's
Yeah.
like the maddest we've seen Gumball.
Which is,
so
I
far.
think, is a very nice callback to the beginning of the episode. But also, that was Darwin's cookie, you jerk. It was not the ant's cookie.
They took it. It was
Yeah, I
their
guess
cookie
they
after
did
they
take
took it. But yeah, then Gumball gets to the top, and then he sees, oh, cool. And then he's like, fine. He's like, oh, cool, downhill.
Yeah, and then it doesn't work out because the brake line snaps, and he the bike just falls apart, and he's going flying so fast that he's in like a cone, like atmospheric re-entry.
Whoosh! Yeah, he's going downhill real
going
fast.
so fast that Donut Cop, first
Cop.
appearance, he's sitting in his like patrol car with a radar gun, and it sets the radar gun on fire and flips the car to its side.
Which is pretty great.
Good gag.
Mm-hmm. But look at his license plate. It's 66666.
666. I have a note on that in the trivia.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm excited for that.
It's a small one. It's not that interesting.
But yeah, that's the first time we see Donut Cop. He doesn't actually really talk or anything. He's just like...
He's just like... Ah.
Yeah.
Gumball swallows a fly for some reason. I don't really understand what the point of that is.
Yeah, then he
it's just a little gag.
Yeah, and he like torpedoes through Tobias's like house and upstairs.
Oh, and he shatters Tobias's bedroom window.
Yeah.
They're gonna have to duct tape that thing for the night.
I like his bedroom though. Look, it's cute. It's filled with a bunch of little details. He's got like a little workout poster there. He's like whatever that
poster
like,
of the video game
pop culture thing. The hot dog thing. What is that to the hot dog guy? Do you think he like reveres the hot dog like game character, or do you think he's like?
Do you think hot dog guy thinks he's cool? Yeah, I mean, I guess that's probably what it's like. I think it's probably like being an Italian and playing a Mario game. You're not more likely to play as Mario.
Yeah. But I lend the hardwood floors and like that red wall is very pretty. It feels
hardwood floor.
Yeah, it feels much more upper class. This does not feel like the Watterson boys.
He also has a football.
Bedroom. He does have a football. Bias turns around in a very funny he's just like.
He's got this really weird face on it. It's very funny.
But he's like sitting there, like obviously we're supposed to think it's Darwin. What the fuck is that thing?
It's like a balloon.
It looks like an orange balloon or something. It's got these weird like tendrils on it.
Yeah, I don't really understand what the fuck that thing is either. It might be one of those little bouncy balls with the two handles.
Oh, maybe, yeah. I just was like, why is it there? Like, obviously it was
really
for when he entered, so we would think it was Darwin, but like, realistically, what the hell
Why did Tobias put that there?
Yeah, was he sad that Darwin walked out?
Yeah, he's just lonely, I guess.
He's just lonely, but he like his little TV he's got.
He's got a nice little TV for 20.
For 2011, he's got like a little flat screen.
Uh-huh.
He was probably playing Xbox 360.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, what is this V Station? It's unreleased. So, like, I wonder what contemporarily that was. I guess it would have been like the PlayStation 4.
Yeah, probably something
he got
like
that thing 2 years early. How were there any games for it?
Yeah, that's a good question. If this thing isn't released yet, where are the games at for it? Are these localized?
That's what I imagine. I imagine it's probably just, like, released in Japan and not the U.S. yet.
And
so we got a Japanese
rich,
copy.
So that makes sense. But, yeah, Gumball's like, where's Darwin? And Tobias is like, he, like, went out to the garden.
He went out to the garden? Why did he think that why did he think Darwin was in the garden?
Yeah, because he's not in a garden. He's, like, in another room.
But I realized they set that up. It took me, like,
Is it for the window gag?
It took me, like, 3 watches to realize this. They set that up for the window gag so that Gumball would be outside. I didn't understand why he was outside for the longest time, but I thought it was a very funny gag.
That makes sense.
This is my favorite gag.
This is a great gag from this episode. I love that. I'm outside, dude. It's so good.
It's so funny.
It's like these early episodes. I know we talk about how they're not that great, but they are in their own ways.
Yeah,
they got great jokes.
Good.
The jokes are pretty good.
There's an animation error here where they hug. The inside of Darwin's mouth is black instead of like a dark red.
Oh.
It's a little weird once it's pointed out.
Yeah, yeah, we don't see that very often. But yeah, they hug, and I wish we could have seen Darwin and Tobias actually like interact, because
that would have been nice.
I would have liked to have seen how Darwin realized this and like left the room.
Yeah,
you know. But we don't really see it.
Yeah, I mean, they basically get back together at this point. I did want to note, the game they were playing on the V Station is called Kebab Fighter.
Kebab Fighter? That's cute.
That is the name of that game. They play it pretty frequently in the show.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, they make up and
they make up
again.
And then they end up playing Tobias's system without him.
And he's like, "Can I plug in the third controller?" And they're like, "No." They're still going to use him for his stuff though.
And that's the end of the episode. The only other note I had on it was I do like that this episode does establish that Gumball does not really like Alan.
Yeah,
and they stick to that.
They stick to that pretty much. Yeah, especially later on.
Mm-hmm.
But I just wanted to add that I'm really glad that the series doesn't do this like a lot throughout the rest of the show, which is like putting their relationship in jeopardy that often, like Gumball and Darwin's.
Yeah.
Like they get mad at each other, but we never have
never
this
see, like,
plot
breakups.
over and over again. Yeah, we never ever have to go through them like not being friends. Like I'm so glad they don't do
They
that.
do not have an on again, off again.
No, they're
friendship.
always friends, and they have their spats and stuff, but like we really don't ever see
Yeah,
this
but
again.
their spats very rarely lead to like a full on breakup like this.
Yeah.
Which is nice. And even this episode wasn't really a breakup because Darwin didn't really know that that's what
Yeah,
he was doing.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's true too. But that's the third.
the
That's our third
third.
episode. Any final thoughts? That was kind of my last.
Yeah, I've got trivia here.
Okay.
Again, shamelessly stolen from the wiki mostly. But this first one was mine. So this is all of Alan's incorrect names in order as they show up. Alex, Adrian, Alfred, Arthur, Adam, Andrew, Alice, and Adam again.
Adam again. That's great.
You already said this, but yeah, this episode is in fact the third episode of the series, and it's called The Third. Very nice little detail. Mm-hmm. Nice little extra, like, double entendre. Mm-hmm. This was the first episode to air on Boomerang once the show moved over to it.
Interesting.
Yep, that's in the U.S. specifically. And then again, you said Donut Cop's police car, the license plate,
Yeah.
is 66666. The only note I have on that, though, is that apparently, according to the wiki, that stays true for throughout the rest of the series.
Really?
Yep.
Huh.
That is apparently consistent.
Well, why did they pick that? What is that? Is that just on? They
I mean,
they
probably
just typed a number.
Yeah, probably just like thought it would be cool to put 6666
They
in
wanted
there
to put
without
666.
without getting in trouble. Another note was from the wiki during the bathroom scene where they're meeting Tobias. Tobias throws $50 into the air, and most of it falls into the boys' stalls, and that's gone when the money zooms out, or like when the money's gone when the camera zooms out, which is supposed to be an animation error. But I thought maybe that's why Gumball has so much money.
Gumball took the
Yeah,
50.
but maybe most of that was Tobias's cash.
Yeah, that's great. I like that theory.
Yep, that's my
cute.
headcanon. Is that
Because he stole
swiped
that
it.
50. Because Tobias didn't. He didn't keep track
And you
of
know,
it.
Gumball's exactly the type of kid that would take a 20 he finds on the ground or something. And be like, oh boy, a 20.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And that's the end of my trivia for this episode. So
Awesome. Well,
got nothing more to say.
no, I think that covers it for the third. It's a fine episode. It's okay.
It's fine. This is the beginning of the stuff that makes me think that like season 1's just not as good.
Yeah.
You know, this is kind of the part that, as much as this show has a slog, which I don't really think it does, but comparatively to the rest of the show, this is the slog.
Yeah.
Still good, just
Yeah.
not as mind-blowingly amazing.
Yeah, which is
Like-
not a criticism.
Yeah, no. This show is still good at this point, but if it was this good throughout, we would have not been making a podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, that's
And I think that's like the most telling thing of the quality of this episode.
yeah, I think it's fine. It's
Yeah,
okay.
totally fine. But even amongst season 1, it is not one of the best.
No. But we're going to take a short little pause, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about The Debt, which I've been excited to talk about since we started.
Here we go. The Debt, baby.
All right. Welcome back, guys. We are going to now talk about The Debt, episode 4.
Episode 4, second B episode
Yep.
of the series.
Written by Ben Buckley, John Foster, and James Lamont. Storyboarded by quite a few people this time. We got George Gendy again, Dave Smith, Philip Warner, and Chuck Klein. So, quite a few storyboarders. I don't know why the last one only had one, but...
Yeah, that's weird. Completely different. I wonder if I wonder what influences that has on an episode. I can't
Yeah.
say I know.
I don't know. We
I'd be
need to learn these
curious.
things.
That's a part of the Gumball, like the animation creation process that I don't know.
Yeah. But the episode opens on a very nice day in Elmore in front of
Very
the
lovely
Robinson house, which I'm always very, very excited to see.
Always.
And Ace and Darwin are hanging out with Gumball, which is nice to see all three of them hanging out.
They're trying to figure out what they're gonna do, and Gumball's all excited because tonight is the Elmore Senior Talent Show. What a thing!
What an event. And it's got Mr. Robinson on the cover.
Yeah, and Gumball specifically notes that Nicole is going to drive
I
him
noted
to this.
that. Yeah.
So assumably he had to talk this over with her.
I was thinking that. Yeah, I was like,
Assumably
did he
he
have
had
to
to-
like persuade her to take him there? Was she
Yeah,
like,
he had
why
to
are
be
you
like,
going?
Mom, can you take me to this thing today? And then he had to like, did he show her this flyer?
Probably.
Because the flyer very explicitly says no Gumball allowed.
Yeah.
And it's got a silhouette of his head, so there's no way Nicole would let him go if it said no Gumball. Though she'd
did
probably raise hell and be like, why are you disrespecting my son like that?
Yeah, she probably would. But yeah, we see. Do you think Mr. Robinson made these posters? That's why he's on it, and it says no Gumball.
Yeah, he probably
Do you
made
think he
them.
made these in
Either
in
that,
Canva?
or I noted that because of that, he probably insisted on that getting put into the flyer. If he didn't make them, he was like, you gotta make sure that no good Gumball doesn't show up.
Yeah, but yeah, he has the flyer, which is pretty great.
And it doesn't start for another 10 hours, apparently. So when does it start?
I assumed like 7 p.m. or something because it's dark when they go there later.
Yeah, so I guess that kind of gives you a rough idea of when what time this is right now.
Yeah, probably like
probably
noon
like-
or something.
Yeah, noon or like a couple hours before.
Or yeah, maybe like 10 a.m. Yeah, they're just
it's like
hanging out
10 a.m.
outside. Gumball's, for some reason, they're sitting in front of Mr. Robinson's house.
Kind of cute. They're just sitting at the curb. They never do that ever again, I don't think.
Yeah.
But it's cute. It's just
Uh-huh.
that's kind of one of those like at leisure things that kids in suburbia probably do, and we don't really see them do it.
But then we cut, and we get to meet for the very first time Gaylord Robinson and Margaret Robinson.
Robinson.
Perhaps two of my favorite non-family,
Non-Watterson
characters.
families.
They're just such a delight.
They're
I
so good.
adore the Robinsons. I love their relationship. I love their dynamic. I love how they interact with the kids. It's so good. It's very... I'll wait until we
shit.
get into the actual... So they start talking.
I forgot to mention this. The Elmore Senior Talent Show flyer, I noted there's a couple of like logos on it that are assumably
Yeah.
like corporate sponsors.
Uh-huh.
I have them noted. There's a couple that are unreadable, so I'm only listing the ones that I can read. I think there's like 3 or 4 of them I couldn't read,
saw a few of
couldn't
them.
make out. The first one is Pop with an expression mark. Next is Trome, which I didn't know what that was. I Googled it. There is a Spanish news and media site that shares this name, and given that this was made in the UK, maybe someone reads it, but I think it's probably a coincidence.
Yeah.
Rainbow Drops, which is perhaps a product that the
Rainbow Factory
makes.
Maybe.
Gendy,
Yeah.
it's a note that I have about that for
From
later.
our storyboarder.
Pineapple, and the Elmore Youth Club.
Who's in charge of that?
He's a good, probably like someone like Alan or Carmen.
Yeah, probably. It's probably Alan.
Alan or Carmen.
Absolutely. But anyway, we cut to the Robinsons in their classic car.
Yeah, they got like an oldie.
Yeah, they got like Cadillac. But Mr. Robinson is voiced by Rupert Degas here for the rest of season 1, as we mentioned earlier, instead of his voice actor later. But this is just the very first scene where we get to see
Do we have a voice actor for Margaret?
It's Teresa Gallagher. I'm pretty sure she's consistently, I think, Mrs. Robinson's voice actor the whole time. I didn't see the
Just her
season
little,
1
like,
or
grunts.
anything. Yeah, just sort of like...
Yeah.
But I love I just adore. She's always so mad.
She's never having a good time.
She's so angry at him. Look at her. I love
She's
it.
got such a funny face.
She is so damn funny.
They
love
are.
her.
I love like the idea of old cranky Sesame Street-esque puppets is so funny.
And the puppets, I think, is really what sells it.
Yeah, they're puppets of
It's
all things.
so
I
funny.
love it.
But yeah, so they pull up to their house.
When I have a note about this, they go to pull in and park, and you can notice Darwin and Anais actually step back from the curb.
Really? That's
They take
cute.
a couple steps back onto the sidewalk, and it's very cute, especially because Anais was sitting on the curb. Mm-hmm. Gumball does not do that, and so when they go to back up, he thinks he's such an idiot. He thinks he's going to be run over, and he's terrified. He screams.
Yeah,
This is very cartoon logic.
It's very
This
because
is
I was
not
like,
a thing Gumball would fall for
Gumball
ever
wouldn't
again.
do this. Like, it feels very weird. That like, why does he think he's gonna be hit? Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
I noted
get
that
it.
too. I wrote this feels very forced. This whole scenario,
Yeah.
this whole like setup for Gumball feeling like he owes his life to Mr. Robinson.
Yeah, it doesn't feel.
It
earned.
does not feel like this is one thing that the show's done so far that I think is genuinely bad. Mm-hmm. I genuinely do not like this part of the episode.
I just don't really get it. Yeah, I'm just like, why? Because they don't. They're not in fear.
Yeah, no. As of now, this is, I think, when the show is like at its worst.
Yeah, which is not bad
at all. It doesn't last for long, though.
Considering how much
this episode gets better,
mm-hmm.
but this particular like setup, I think, is very lazy and not very good.
Yeah, I didn't quite get it when we rewatched it,
but Anais has a little tear in her eye at this point,
yeah,
which I thought was very weird, and I was like,
stupid brother.
Yeah, I wondered why she was crying. Some people say on the wiki it was an animation error, but that might be an intentional choice for her.
I don't know. It could be a variety of things. I love the Robinsons. Their expressions are so
They're
good.
innately funny to look at.
So angry all the time, and it's so damn
they're
funny.
Just like frustrated, angry boomers.
Yeah, it's honestly, they're just such good like caricatures of boomers. It's so
really
fucking funny.
Yeah, they really feel like a Simpsonified boomer.
Yeah, I think that's what makes it great. That these are definitely like two Simpsons characters.
Yeah.
Which, as we've talked about, the Simpsons is obviously such a big influence on the show.
It's gotta be like there's
absolutely.
No way it can't be.
There's no way. I'd love to see what like if Ben or Mick or whoever what their thoughts on that are.
I also thought it was funny because Gumball's doing all this screaming and shit. Anais and Darwin were looking at him with like a lot of concern on their faces.
I don't blame them.
They're like, "What are you doing?"
And I love when we see Gumball on the windshield and you see Mr. Robinson's eyes.
Yeah, the eyes in the mirror is very funny. It's like that. That is a genuine.
Is that
great
all he
framing.
sees? Can he not see behind him?
Yeah.
Is that why he has to like look behind him? It's so funny.
I assume probably not. I think our camera's probably not where his eyes are.
I just think it's funny.
But that is very funny.
It's funny. And I love when he like wipes Gumball off on the windshield. It's a cute little
and of course
thing.
Mr. Robinson's very annoyed with Gumball. And he's trying to get him away, but the windshield wiper's not working. So Mrs. Robinson pops the trunk and sends him pops him into fucking orbit.
Yeah, what is her motivation for that? Like
pure evil? Like
well,
always?
Yeah, I get that. But like, does she hate her Gumball more than she hates her husband?
I think she was just annoyed.
Yeah, because
I think there was very little thought that ran through that head. She was just like, I know how to get this annoying like thing out of my peripheral vision.
I just thought it was.
And just
funny.
launches him.
She launches him into space. Funny. And this is the first time we get to see the planets, which is not something I think
I did have a question about this scene. The stars in the background are drawn like little hollow drawings, like little cartoon shapes of stars. Did they do that ever again in the show?
I don't know, because we see those again later in this episode.
This episode, there's like 3 times we see them drawn like that. But they're not drawn like that the rest of the show, are they?
I don't know.
But the planets or like the celestial bodies are actually sentient. Do you know what accent they have?
No,
I don't know.
Top of my head.
It sounds like something from like the UK, but I wouldn't
it's
know
something.
for sure.
I think probably from the UK where they.
But I did think maybe this is just my like American bias. Mm-hmm. But I did think that because this show's like set in America and you expect characters to sound like American, mm-hmm. I think it's very fucking hilarious. The idea that celestial bodies, light years away from humanity and billions of years away from their forming, would speak in a regional accent.
That is very funny.
It's a very, very funny little character trait.
Yeah, but and even when he gets like shot up into space and stuff, and he's like, "Thank you, universe," again, I'm like, it still feels kind of forced. I think a little bit because like why did he?
I did say this like Gumball prays to the universe like you were saying. So I guess he's not religious.
Yeah,
he
guess
doesn't have a religious like leader.
Can you imagine if Gumball just started praying to God? It's like, God, please let me make sure Mr. Robinson's okay.
You know what? That would significantly lower the quality of the show. The entire rest of the show would be tainted by that. So I'm glad that they don't.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Also, I noted just like Tobias's house in the previous episode. We now know Mr. Robinson's, like the Robinsons household.
Yeah.
Their address is 1022, which assumably means the Wattersons' address is something similar.
At 1020 maybe? Or...
Yeah, 1020 or 1024.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting.
I don't know.
Which means Harry Gedges
Harry Gedges.
Don't want to give out his real name.
Uh-huh.
It would be like what? Would it be like 1018
or 1026?
1026?
Yeah. Yeah, I would love to know, like, their street name is. I don't know if we ever
might
find
know
it.
Like, someone might know that. That might be common knowledge. But
Yeah.
I don't know it.
But then we next cut to Gumball. I love this part where he's, like, asleep on their porch like a cat.
Like a cat.
It's very
Very
cute.
cute.
It's we always talk about how we love when we get to see them interact as the animals that they are, or how they get to exist in their world as an animal.
Yeah, I love any
whatever they are.
Anytime a character's like biology or anatomy changes how they interact with the world, I love it.
It's very cute.
Yeah, Mr. Robinson trips on Gumball because
trips
he's
on
just being super annoying
Yeah.
and just getting in his way.
This
and I
is-
do kind of agree. This is my least favorite thing they do with Mr. Robinson is when it is just like him versus Gumball, and Gumball's just like inadvertently fucking with him.
Yeah, I like what they do with it later, where it doesn't feel. It feels very SpongeBob here. It feels very SpongeBob and Squidward.
Like, it is kind of SpongeBob.
And I think it evolves beyond that later. You know, it doesn't feel like Gumball's a complete idiot when he's interacting with Mr. Robinson later. You know, like they worship him, but like he's not like acting like this. And I think, yeah, it feels very SpongeBob here. And I like that relationship. I think probably is maybe inspired by that SpongeBob, Patrick, and Squidward, like with them torturing him. But I think it's especially very evident here,
Yeah, I think so.
for better or for worse.
Yeah. But I will say at this point, this is the first like kind of bit of dead air in my notes since we've started. There's not a whole lot for me to really say yet.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah, Mr. Robinson, Gumball follows Mr. Robinson to the cheap mart.
Cheap Mart to get cough drops, so like throat
yeah, because
lozenges.
Margaret won't get them.
Because Margaret won't.
She's
Of
not
course she
gonna go.
wouldn't.
Did he ask her to?
Yeah. He must have known damn well she was not going to say
She was
yes.
probably like, "Meh, meh, 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 meh." That's great. But yeah, Gumball's there. He picks up the wet floor slime.
Moves it over.
He moves it over.
and
Mr. Robinson slips
Mr.
on
Robinson
it. He
slips
mimics
on
the
it.
image on it, which is
It's
cute.
an okay visual gag.
Yeah.
It's not very funny, but it is cute.
It's cute, but
But
I love the backgrounds of this, whatever store this is.
I wanted to like zoom in and see if we could see any of the names of these products, but I couldn't find any.
But I love when we get to see Mr. Robinson from an angle that we don't normally get to see, when he's like laying on the floor. We get to
Yeah.
see how like flat his underside is.
Yeah, his ass is flat. He's got
his
no
legs
cake.
and his little mitten slippers.
Uh-huh.
They're very cute.
And so Gumball thinks he needs like resuscitation, and someone comes over and is like,
Blue
"Don't
Man,
worry, boy."
and Underwear Man, the hot
Yeah.
dog seller guy. I think.
I actually have his name. His name is Pants Bully.
Great.
Very weird name.
Yeah, he's
but,
the guy who sells the hot dogs eventually.
yeah, he is named Pants Bully.
But yeah, he basically makes out with Mr.
Which
Robinson.
means he now has a tab in my characters section of my notes.
Oh, good.
Because he's a named character.
But yeah, it's kind of gross. It's really gross. He's like,
It's weird.
He's like,
You don't like that.
yeah.
But Mr. Robinson's like, oh, I hope that this didn't awake anything in me sexually.
He's gonna go home to Margaret and be like, Margaret, honey, I'm gay. She's gonna be like,
Margaret, I didn't want to tell you this, but I think I might want to suck some dick.
okay.
Sorry about that. We had a bit of an interruption.
Yeah, sorry, my cat was taking a shit. And it was like they were scratching at the litter box.
Wanted
It was
to
very
spare you
loud.
that.
So
But
funny.
what I was about to say was that, of course, he doesn't actually have the sexual reawakening. His concern is that might have affected his voice, so he goes to get a hot drink from
Yeah,
a
I love the little hot
vending
drinks machine. It's cute.
Presumably a coffee given him.
Yeah.
But,
He's like, "Meh." I like when he's trying to practice singing. He's like, la la la.
La, 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 and then he goes, la, 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 la.
I love his little la la la.
That's very
great.
funny. But
I just love him.
he's coughing to kind of clear his throat, and Gumball thinks he's choking. So Gumball runs over and tries to give him a Heimlich. And I thought it was very interesting because Mr. Robinson's like, oh, what, Gumball, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
And even Mr. Robinson respects Gumball's given name, or like chosen name.
Mm-hmm.
Because assumably he would have met him like before Gumball started using the name Gumball.
Yeah.
And assumably like he would have been like, my neighbor's got a kid. And they would probably be like, oh yeah, his name is Zach. And then he would later on go by Gumball, which is very cute. That, he would actually respect his name.
Mr. Robinson respects your pronouns.
You know
he
what?
may not like you as a person, but he will respect
you know what?
your pronouns.
This show is very respectful in that sense. There are no characters that will just do that shit.
There are no characters who get bullied for what they are. Yeah. Ever. I think.
I'm not convinced that I would ever get misgendered in Elmore.
No.
By anyone.
Even the worst people in the show.
Even Mr. and Mrs. Robinson would gender correctly.
Mrs. Robinson probably, yeah. You'd probably still get hate crimed by her, but...
Yeah, she would probably still be transphobic, but she would probably use a she.
Yeah.
Well, given my pronoun, she'd probably use an it. She's definitely an it's user.
Yeah. But, he, knocks Mr. Robinson's heart out.
Which, I should note, his heart does not look like it does in an episode where it does feature prominently. Season 6, episode 14.
The heart. Uh-huh.
It does not look anything like it does in that episode.
Yeah, and then he, swallows his own heart, which is really weird.
And he's got to, bring it to his mouth with his tongue, and it's gross.
It's very weird. It's kind of gross, but I kind of love it.
It is, yeah.
But then we get to see the first puppet flail.
The first instance of his, what I call the angry dance. The signature
dance.
Angry dance. He's just like a puppet flail, like you said. It's great.
So good. And then we go, to the Elmore Tanning Salon.
I need to mark that down as a company. I have that listed in here. In-universe, companies and shit.
And Mr. Robinson apparently goes here frequently.
How exactly do puppets tan?
I don't know. Every time he goes in it, I always think, instead of making the top of it big enough to fit him, I always think he's just gonna pull it down and it's just gonna be like a sandwich with him and in the middle.
Yeah.
And it's just the top and the bottom, very thin. Honestly, every time they cut to it, I think that's what they're gonna do, but no, it's like a dome that's big enough to support his body.
No, there's not actually any, real gag to it.
No, it's just him. It's just his hands sticking out, and it's called the Super Bronze machine.
The Super Bronze.
Yeah. But for some reason, Gumball's here, and he thinks it's a coffin, I guess.
It's a bit
Gumball does not... Yeah, Gumball acts very strange in this episode.
Yeah, like I said, this is, I think, probably the lowest the show's gotten so far. I hope it stays that way. But
yeah, which...
this is definitely, of all the episodes we've seen so far, outside of the Robinson stuff, this is the lowest.
Yeah,
of all of them.
and because what? I just have so many questions. But yeah, Gumball thinks he's dead, so he opens up the machine and he tries to defibrillate Mr.
Which is
Robinson,
funny.
which is pretty funny.
And I love his limbs just go flying everywhere.
It's very good.
He's like, I'm still alive, and so Gumball does it again.
Yeah.
That's genuinely funny.
But I love it. You can see he's got the little glasses and he's got a little Walkman on him.
Yeah. What does he listen to?
You can hear it, but it's just jazz.
Of course.
It's just jazz music. But yeah, it's great when he defibrillates him a second time, and you just see how much electricity that zaps. It's great.
Yeah, it causes
the
neon sign outside to go off.
Mm-hmm. Pretty good. But then we cut back to the Robinson yard, household, and Mr. Robinson is going home because he's like Gumball.
Yeah. And Gumball has booby trapped his front door with the if you ring the doorbell, it shoots a giant bowling ball right at your stomach / crotch region.
Yeah. And I love that Mr. Robinson's wait, if I'm in a that's pretty good.
He gets knocked down, and he's like, listen, kid, you're not going to ruin this for me. This is my dream. And then I was like, does Mr. Robinson have this dream throughout the show? Is he always wanted to do this? Is this a consistent character trait?
I like to think it is. Here's
the conclusion I came to. I guess he does, because he's the second or third character we see sing in season 5, episode 31, the singing.
Yeah.
The musical episode.
And he does appear for a lot of the musical episodes. So yeah, I guess, yeah.
He's a singer.
But I love the way the fluidity of his puppet arm moves. It's very funny. He's just rah. It's so good. I love the puppetry in the show. Whoever does the puppetry or whatever, it's...
Well, I'm assuming he's not a real puppet.
Well, yeah, but the animation of it.
So good,
whoever animates his puppetry, it's very, very nice. But yeah, he's like, Gumball, get away from me.
Don't ruin this for me.
Don't ruin this for me, Gumball. Yeah, and so of course Gumball's all disappointed.
He goes to sit on the steps, kind of upset. And Anais and Darwin see him. And
What
wanna
have
help
they
him
been doing
out.
all day? Do you think they were hanging out?
You know what? I have a note about that. I have it for later on, but I'll say it here. I really, really wish we got Anais and Darwin hanging out without Gumball more. Like, I want
Yeah.
to know what their relationship is like when there's no Gumball.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things, one of the few things that the show really doesn't do.
I would really like to see that in season 7. Mm-hmm.
I'd love that.
I would love that.
I'd love to see
Genuinely.
that. Mm-hmm.
That is well worth the episode.
Or just an
slot, I
episode
think.
with just the two of them. No Gumball.
Yeah,
I think,
I'd be okay with
that'd
that.
be great. I'd love to see them get into shenanigans together.
But they feel bad about it, and so they decide to send him a note tied to a brick. And Darwin has excellent aim with it because he shoots it way up into the air and it comes crashing down right on like Gumball's lower back.
Oh, yeah.
And he's just writhing in pain.
I mean, that would hurt. If
Yeah.
you got a brick through your brain.
I gotta say, it is very funny. This is one of my favorite gags from the episode. I think this is pretty funny that he's just in so much pain.
Yeah. And
Like,
then he's
this
like,
would've-
oh, Groot.
And then it instantly forgets it.
It's like, yeah, I feel that, Gumball.
Mm.
But yeah, he reads the note, but he can't read the word assassinate.
Yeah, he doesn't know how to read that. That's very cute.
But basically, the note just says Mr. Robinson will be assassinated at the talent show, and it's written like a ransom letter in a movie with all the letters cut out.
or like all the magazine letters.
Uh-huh.
It's cute.
It's a cute little thing. You think Anais? I guess Anais made that, right?
Yeah, but also she spelled assassinated wrong.
Yeah, she did. You think it was intentional?
Yeah, I don't. There's no way. I don't think she would have spelled that wrong.
Yeah, maybe that was Darwin's contribution.
Yeah.
She was like, Darwin, spell assassinated. And
She
he was
came
like,
up with
"Okay."
the idea, but Darwin did the
Darwin
labor.
did the work. But yeah, I love the Gumball's expression when he's freaking out about it. And he's like, Mr. Robinson, Mr. Robinson. And then when he just went inside because he was in pain, and now here he comes back out like 2 minutes
feeling
later. And he's feeling great. And he's like, Margaret, I'm so glad you decided to come with me today.
And then we hear her mumble.
And we hear
I noted
mumble.
she doesn't say meh yet.
No,
she
she
just
just
kind of
mumbles.
mumbles.
Yeah, she's like,
and then Mr. Robinson says like, "What do you mean you're just going to watch me fail?"
so funny.
Very funny.
I just love. I can't help it. Every time they interact, I just die. It just kills
Yeah,
me.
I do.
Every
I
time.
do love that their whole dynamic is just they hate
They
each
just
other.
hate each other, and that's how they love each other, though.
They love each other through hating
It's
each other.
so
and it's
good.
so fucking funny.
Mhm, every time.
They have a very interesting love language.
It's so true, and I just this episode makes me so excited for the future. But anyway, yeah, he tries to warn them. They don't listen, obviously. And so Gumball's like, oh, well.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
we just cut to the school, but go ahead.
I also did think it was kind of cute that Anais does help him read Assassinated.
Yeah,
I like,
it's
that's
cute.
very cute. She just like kind of goes, Assassinated.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, and he just completely just does not pay attention to the fact that his sister just said that.
But yeah, then we just like cut to the school, and I'm like, well, wait, what about, is Nicole still gonna take him?
Yeah, I had that note too. Like they show up here, so assumably Nicole drove them here, but we don't see her in the audience. So
No, she didn't
they
show.
don't
She
actually-
didn't stay.
No, she dropped them off and then went back home.
Also, why is the senior talent show happening at the school?
I guess
They
because
didn't want to do like a make a rec center or
I
something?
imagine it's probably the only stage that is in town. Like,
yeah.
assumably that real cities will probably do that because they have like an auditorium for the school projects.
Yeah, I mean,
and
I guess
so
that makes sense.
in off hours, you're allowed to use it as a community.
I feel like our high school did that with some things.
I think so.
Our auditorium was pretty big.
Yeah.
But yeah, we cut to the first act of the talent show, and it's the group of the old senior citizens
The old
in
men
Elmore.
and
they're
a
great.
character. I don't know if we ever see.
Yeah, and this
yellow one
creepy
again.
thing, I don't like it.
No, I don't like
it's
it
very
either.
weird.
But yeah, Louis is there.
Louis, we love Louis,
We stay
and
on Louis.
Marvin,
And,
and Donald.
Donald.
Yeah, they're great. They're doing a little song.
I
and
do
dance.
love the senior citizens.
They're great. Yeah, I'm so glad this weird yellow chicken thing doesn't come back.
Yeah, it's very
it's
ugly.
creepy. I don't like it. Like the others are all so distinct, but he just feels so out of place because he doesn't have a
He
design.
just doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't really feel like.
It looks
his
very
own
like they drew it
thing.
last minute.
Mm-hmm.
But then we see Margaret in the audience. She's watching.
She
She's
is
not entertained.
unimpressed.
I wish she was impressed by it.
Yeah. No, she's just pure. Like,
She looks over and she thinks someone's clapping, and it's just Gary slapping the whatever that guy is.
Harry.
Harry, I'm sorry.
Gedges.
Harry
You don't want to
Gedges.
reveal his.
I thought it was the other way around. I'm sorry. You're right.
Remember, the fake one is the one that doesn't sound like a real word.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, he's just slapping this weird like anteater
Weird,
guy with like
yeah.
a nose. I don't know.
He's
weird.
a background character.
He's a
that's
background
consistent,
character, but it's a cute little gag.
I
I,
don't
like
know
it.
his name.
He's like, "Wake up!"
Yeah.
And then they carry Marvin off because he like, I don't know, he like
He's like
breaks his
rigor
back or
mortis.
something. He's like rigor mortis. Yeah, and it cuts to Gumball and Anais up on like the rafters.
Darwin and Anais.
Or I'm sorry, Darwin and Anais on the, like the rafters of the school.
And they're
and they
like,
have a
here's the
big
plan. We're going to drop the sandbags near Mr. Robinson. Gumball will see him, think someone's attacking him, and like save his life.
Mm-hmm.
And she's trying to explain it. For some reason, Darwin just does not get it. Thinks that they're directly trying to hit Mr. Robinson.
Yeah, I love Darwin's like naivety throughout the whole series. It's very cute. Sometimes,
Yeah.
like I think they lean into it a little too much.
This
in this
feels
episode.
a little too hard. Like
Yeah.
I think he would understand that they don't want to hurt Mr. Robinson for real.
Yeah,
But it is kind of cute because Anais can't get this idea through his head, so she's like, maybe I should try reverse psychology.
Yeah. It's
And
cute.
it's like, we do need to hit him in the head. And I love Darwin's like response. Another very cutely said line. He's like, that's what I just said.
Yeah, honestly, his voice actor's so good. And then the third in this episode,
Placey's fucking
yeah,
good.
he's so good. He's great. They're all good. Like honestly, all get moments to shine.
Oh, yeah.
all the time. But I love it when she's like, just do what I do, and she's face palmed her like herself,
Yeah.
and he does the same thing. It's very cute.
Is that a face palm? I didn't read that as like a face palm. She's just kind of like hitting the side of her head.
Oh yeah, I guess
I
so.
wouldn't count that as an Anais face palm.
Okay.
For the counter.
Uh-huh.
I'm keeping count of them, guys.
So that when we need the number, we'll know the number.
I don't know the number.
But yeah, and then it cuts to this wide shot of the audience that I love because you see Margaret's dead stare just
Yeah.
looking straight at.
She is dissociating.
She's dissociating, yeah. And
She's
this
the
like
fucking Lord.
and Harry's there, and the other guy, and Gumball climbs in through a rope, and
He doesn't have enough rope and falls,
And he falls like an
10
idiot.
feet.
and then we see Rocky. Rocky's
This is so
first
cute.
appearance.
Rocky's first appearance. He's like the host of this, or like the MC. Mm-hmm. And we saw him first time, and I thought, why is he such a different color from
Yeah.
Mrs. Robinson and Mr. Robinson?
And a different
I thought,
texture.
is that yeah? And that's what I thought was like, is Mr. Robinson just like puppet bald? Is that what he used to look like when he was younger?
Well, he
Was
did
he
have
just
red
covered
hair.
in fur? Yeah.
When
I
we
guess
see
he
him
did.
as like a young adult or whatever, like a younger person, he has red hair.
I just wondered about that because I mean he's bald.
I don't think he ever looks like Rocky because in flashbacks we see him and he never looks like Rocky.
Is that
but
just
he does
meant
have
to
red
imply
hair.
that like Rocky's a fucking bear?
Rocky's a bear.
Uh-huh.
That's great. But yeah, we see that and we get confirmation like pretty much right away that he is Mr. Robinson's
Yeah, because
son.
he's like, "Good luck, Dad."
Yeah, which I
And
thought was nice. I
it's
didn't-
so cute.
Yeah.
I love Rocky's enthusiasm for his dad in this. It's so fucking
yeah,
adorable.
I didn't think we got that confirmation that early, which was nice.
Yeah,
I was
I
like,
didn't-
oh,
I
that's
didn't realize
nice.
either.
Yeah, but yeah.
Literally his first scene shows that. And I
Yeah,
didn't expect
and then I like that he
Like,
says,
I thought this,
go
sorry,
ahead. No, go ahead.
we don't see him do his janitorial position until after they establish him.
Yeah.
We don't see him drive the bus either, I don't think.
Yeah.
So isn't that weird?
Yeah.
This is the first, like, character trait of Rocky's they established.
Yeah, he's like the MC at this music
Very
show
weird.
for whatever reason. But I love his line where he's like, the second and final act, which I thought was
There's
funny.
only two.
There's only 2 acts. Elmore
Granny
Senior.
JoJo didn't want to be a part
Granny
of this.
JoJo didn't want to be a part of this. Yeah, the Elmore Senior talent show is unfortunately not very hopping. But then we get perhaps the best part of this whole episode,
Yeah,
Mr.
it's a
Robinson's
good one.
little song.
Yeah, he gets a song. It is called I Want to Be Free. And I thought, at least he's happy.
I like this. I like
glad
this
that
little
he's
monologue
happy.
at the start.
Yeah.
Where he's like, I had a decent life. I got a wife and had a kid, and every day's gotten worse or whatever.
And he's like, and every day just feels the same.
What pain is Mr. Robinson in? What
depressed.
existential agony is he going
He has
through?
depression, undiagnosed.
He's a boomer, so he's not going to get it diagnosed.
But, yeah, thought it was cute. I love that this show has such a strong musical side to it.
It really
I love
does.
every
yeah.
musical thing they do in this show.
Yeah,
love it.
yeah. This show's so grounded in music, and interestingly, the first musical number of the show is from him, and not even from
Yeah.
the boys.
And he rips off his clothes to get into his performance outfit, and
he's got,
Mrs.
like, a
Robinson
dance
is
gear.
disgusted,
Yeah.
and then immediately unimpressed with Mr. Robinson's enthusiasm.
And she
She
leaves.
leaves. She does not like seeing her husband happy.
No, she's pissed. But yeah, he throws off his clothes. He's got like his leg warmers on and like these like sparkly shorts and like very dance wear.
Big yellow
It's very
shirt.
cute.
We never see him in anything this fruity later on.
No, but he's like dancing around the stage and having a good time, and I love his whole song. It's great. It's just a lovely little thing.
Lovely little number.
Yeah, but then Anais and Darwin are like, "What the fuck is he doing?"
What is he doing?
But they recognize that it's good because she's like, "Well, whatever it is, it's good because."
Yeah,
whatever.
she's like, well, it is good. Let's get on with this. This is cute.
But yeah, they try. They throw the sandbags down. Gumball's
Not
an
hit
idiot.
him. They do not hit
They
him.
do not hit him. Gumball obviously doesn't notice because he's stupid in this episode.
Stupid. And Darwin opens the trap door to try and get Gumball to notice that.
He
Instead, Gumball just
peers
pops
through it,
out
which
of
is
it.
cute. I do like that. It's a fun
That
little
is
thing.
kind of a little cute thing. I
But,
also
yeah.
thought, like, they keep just trying stuff. They move on to the special effects. And I thought, here's another very cartoony thing about this episode is they just, like, it's so cartoony that they mean to get Gumball's attention, but they inadvertently make the performance better,
yeah.
and more impressive. That's so cartoony.
Yeah, I thought that too.
It would not look so synchronized in real life, of course.
Yeah, I like that Mr. Robinson gets like this cool W.
Yeah, I do like that,
it's a
but
cool
I don't like
performance,
that
but I
that's
don't.
framed that way.
Yeah, no, I get it, but the audience likes it, and
Like,
Rocky's like, "That's
Rocky's
my
like,
dad."
"That's right." And he's so proud. And
He's so proud of him.
It's so cute.
Do you think he like said bye to his mom before she left? Do
Yeah.
you think he was like, "Bye, mom," and she was
Yeah,
like,
he was like, "Oh, Mom, why are you leaving? Dad's still performing."
"Mom, am I invited over for dinner next week?" But yeah, Mr. Robinson's having a great time.
Okay.
And he does this big high note, which is great.
Yeah, I know that he's got some fucking pipes.
Yeah, he does. I love the angle we see of him with his, like, he's just looking up at his big nose and stuff. It's
Yeah.
just very funny.
And he shatters all the glass, including Mrs. Robinson's windshield.
Look at her with
which
almost a
causes her to crash into a light pole, which
It's
is so
funny.
And we get to see those stars again.
It's pretty. It's
It
cute.
is pretty. I love that. She runs into
She
a
runs
light,
into a light
a
pole.
lamp pole and like
It's
shuts
so
it
good.
down
But yeah, Mr. Robinson holds this high note for a while until he
because
cracks
he
the
wanted the
light.
stage lights to come like flying down
And Gumball, to his
Gumball
credit,
jumps in. And you know what? The way they frame this like slow mo of him like coming in to kind of push him out of the way, I felt like gives us our first glimpse at like the dramatic tension they do in later episodes.
yeah.
This is the earliest instance of that kind of like, oh shit kind of feeling. It's very faint in this episode. It's not very strong, but it does kind of feel like that. It's
Yeah.
got the same sort of vibe.
No, I agree. And then Gumball's like, "Hey, get Mr. Robinson, come with me." And Mr. Robinson's like mid-note, he's like,
Shut
"Get
up,
away." He goes back to the note. It's pretty good. And Gumball pushes him out of the way and does save him. He
Yep.
does accomplish his goal. And Mr. Robinson's like, "You saved my life.
But
That doesn't give you an excuse for ruining my performance."
Which is another angry dance.
Yeah, it's so good. I just love Mr. Robinson. And, yeah, so Mr. Robinson's pissed. But everyone the two people in the audience are
They
like,
loved it.
they're just like, "Woo!"
Yeah, they genuinely enjoyed it, and he's happy. He's got his little moment in the limelight, and he's kind of like, "Oh, thank you."
He pushes Gumball away.
They're asking for an encore, and then the final gag of the episode. I gotta be honest, I really do not like it.
Really?
I think it is extremely out of character for Darwin, especially, but even Anais, I think, to just leave him under this platform that they rode down on. To be fair, Gumball's the one that lowered it down on him.
Yeah.
They didn't intend to do that. But they don't care that they squished him down to the size of a pancake.
Yeah, he's flat.
And they're just like, hey, he's okay. And they walk away. And I gotta be honest, I do not like that.
It's very abrupt, at the very least, I think, yeah.
And like I said, I do not think Darwin would have walked away from that.
Yeah.
I think he would have been like, no way. And fixed it before they left.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And probably Anais, too.
And it felt pointless, too. I don't feel like we needed a joke there. We could have just ended on Mr. Robinson having
Yeah,
a
Mr.
W.
Robinson's not allowed to have a W.
No.
But, yeah, final thoughts?
That's the end of the
Your
episode.
trivia?
I do have some trivia. My final thoughts on the episode, again, this is definitely, of the 4 we've watched, Keep in mind, we have only watched 4. This is the worst one so far. I do
But
love...
worst isn't necessarily a criticism of, like,
It doesn't,
this is a
it
bad
doesn't
episode.
necessarily mean that it's bad, strictly speaking. I think, if I'm being honest, this is the show dipping into mediocre.
Yeah.
I do like the Robinson dynamic, and there were, I mean, you heard me, you listened to the whole podcast if you got this far. You've heard me all kind of excited for a couple of different things. There were funny moments, it's still good, but overall, those highlights aren't quite enough to take the lows out of this episode.
Yeah.
This is kind of lame.
Yeah. That's okay.
This is the episode I would not be happy to catch a rerun of, if I'm being honest.
I would love it for the Robinson moments, but I think that's kind of pretty much it.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's a season 1 episode.
I do have a little bit of trivia. It's very light on this episode. There's not a whole lot. Again, this is all shamelessly stolen from the Gumball Wiki. I'm going to make sure I cite that every time because I don't want people to think that I figured this shit out. Gendy, remember that?
Yeah.
From the Senior Citizen Talent Show flyer. You kind of already figured this out. That is a reference to the Gendy brothers,
Yeah.
both of which worked on the show. But this is likely a reference to George Gendy in specific, as he was one of the storyboard artists.
Which is a cute little Easter egg.
Yep, it's nice. I like that. They do that kind of thing a lot with like Daniel Leonard and
McGraves is there a lot.
McGraves' face. Hulu, if you go on there to watch this, they incorrectly list the episode as season 1, episode 3 instead of episode 4. So it would come up before the 3rd.
Yeah.
Which then kind of ruins the
That ruins the
double
whole thing.
entendre.
Yeah.
And then the scene where Gumball shouts like, no, and it goes into slow motion. Background music is apparently A Day in the Life by the Beatles.
I can't say I noticed, or even would have noticed.
I didn't notice, and the song is like 5 minutes long. I don't like the Beatles. So I was not about to listen to a 5-minute song from a band I don't like to prove or disprove this.
Yeah, that's fine.
But apparently, that is the case.
Well, solid. I mean, I think the DVD and The Responsible are probably the better episodes.
Definitely better. Yeah. I do think, to kind of touch on things we said in that last episode when we talked about those 2 episodes, those are definitely a lot stronger an introduction to this show than these 2 would have been.
Yeah, they're good. I think they're a good first 2 episodes.
Definitely much better than these 2. I think these were good, like, 3rd and 4th episodes because you're already hooked or already invested from the first 2.
Yeah.
And just kind of get this one out of the way so we can move on to more episodes where the show picks up again. Starts getting good again.
Yeah. Do we know what our next episodes are?
I did not look that
I
up.
forgot to look for them this time, but we'll get to them next week.
Next week we'll be on season 1, episode 5 and 6.
6. We're making progress.
And we are making progress. There's only like 200 more to go.
Yeah, but we're gonna keep going as much as we can.
Keep going. Enjoy it while it lasts, because it won't last forever.
Yeah. But that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for listening. Thanks for listening all the way through to the end. Well, like we said, we'll be back next week. Follow us on Twitter, shameless self-promotion.
Twitter. There's another website you want to follow us on. You can search TowelPod. If you don't find TowelPod, we're not on it.
Yeah, we're still working on that.
Yeah. And we don't really have a presence on any website other than Twitter
TikTok
yet. But hey, if you want to get us before we start, you're free to join.
But that's it.
That's it.
Goodbye.
See you later. Welcome to the amazing